The theory I will be discussing for my literature review is the cognitive dissonance theory. So what is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is a theory developed by Leon Festinger in 1957, and it is the feeling of discomfort that arises when we have inconsistent thoughts and behaviors. So when our thoughts and behaviors are not psychologically consistent and our beliefs and actions do not line up. The sentence I have conducted my evidence to focus on is, if not reflected on, cognitive dissonance can have a significant negative lasting effect on mental health. The first main article is Cognitive Dissonance, What to Know. This bulleted list in front of me are just some examples of the topics that the article focused on. So we have what are the effects? So what are the effects of cognitive dissonance? So we have behavior, thoughts, decisions, beliefs, and attitudes, and mental health. So there are physical effects and there are also mental effects. So some people experience different effects depending on their tolerance to the dissonance. So the different physical effects can be anxious, guilty, ashamed, and some results of this are people try to hide their actions or beliefs from others. They rationalize their actions or choices continuously. They shy away from conversations or debates about specific topics. They avoid learning new information that goes against their existing belief. That tends to happen a lot in politics. They ignore research, newspaper articles, or doctor's advice that causes dissonance. This has also been very present in the past year or so with the COVID-19 pandemic as well. So situations that cause dissonance would be smoking while being aware of the risk associated with such action. Hypocrisy, which would be telling someone to exercise or promoting a good physical health while not engaging in that activity themselves. Telling a lie while thinking they're an honest person. Purchasing a car that is bad for the environment while knowing it effects it has on the atmosphere. Eating meat while being someone who loves animals despite the fact that you know someone had to kill the animal to eat what you were eating. And there are also many different ways you can get back to consonance. So although cognitive dissonance affects many people in a negative way, it can also affect people in a positive way, which results in lifestyle changes. So when someone realizes the difference between their conflicting beliefs or actions, they are actually engaging in personal growth. I personally thought this was a great article. It went so in depth on how cognitive dissonance plays a huge part in mental health and can really cause long-lasting effects if not treated properly. So the two main words that describe the feeling of dissonance in this article were uncomfortable and happy. So this article focuses on the effects of anxiety caused by dissonance. So the word emphasizes to describe the anxious feeling of being uncomfortable and happy. So there's physical and mental signs. So the physical and mental signs that your body presents when feeling cognitive dissonance include but are not limited to anxious thoughts, anxious feelings, nausea, headaches. And when these signs arise, it is a good time to stop and reflect on your thoughts and your actions. So the next step is pause and listen. So it's very important when you feel these symptoms, you reflect on them. Journaling has been researched and has been a helpful way to reduce these feelings. While journaling, there are steps that can help you break down your issue. When journaling, start by trying to reflect on the situation and actually come down to what is bothering you. Reflect on your thoughts, reflect on what they're about, reflect on what your emotions are about, reflect on what you're considering doing to try and fix this problem and what is causing this problem and what is making you uncomfortable. Ask yourself why your actions are causing anxiety. Ask yourself what your anxiety feels like and what will happen if you ignore these thoughts and what will happen if you change your actions. The third and final article I chose to include in this literature review is Health and Well-Being, Cognitive Dissonance, and Our Mental Life. This article focused on the long-lasting effects that can happen from cognitive dissonance if not treated properly. So the first one is inconsistent effects on everyday life. So when we're feeling inconsistent because of dissonance, we feel much less capable to deal with our everyday lives. And this brings on numerous amounts of stress, numerous amount of anxiety, and also depression as well. Chronological high. So the effects of chronological high levels of dissonance can lead to depression disorders and anxiety disorders. And since our mind and our body work as a team, these mental disorders can also lead to physical illness down the road. To avoid the mental and physical problems that come from dissonance, we must be aware of how it operates in our psychology. And this also links back to the second article that I mentioned in the journaling. We need to ask ourselves, what is going on within myself right now? Why is my body feeling this way? And why is my brain feeling this way? So in conclusion, I do believe my statement, if not reflected on, cognitive dissonance can have a significant negative effect on our mental health, is very true within the articles I have presented and all the research I have done throughout this whole project. Cognitive dissonance makes us feel uncomfortable and makes us feel those feelings of stress and anxiety, and if not getting back to consonance, then it can definitely lead to mental and physical problems down the road. But one of the gaps that I actually noticed while researching cognitive dissonance and anxiety was that religion was not really brought up. And when I think of cognitive dissonance, it is basically you going against your beliefs. And when I think of beliefs, I instantly think of religion and Christianity, Catholicism, and every other religion that there is in the world. And I think it would be really interesting to do further research on this and see how much stress a non-religious person goes through while experiencing cognitive dissonance versus a religious person.